now for something completely different. Welcome to a podcast. Oi, what's up? This is the fourth time in 1 hour that I am restarting because Leia, and an overheating camera. That's where we are. So, maybe the original topic is not what I should have gone for. So now I'm not. So instead, let's talk about... It is absolutely wild that I cannot think of any of the things that I had written down. I have like 9 podcast ideas written down somewhere. The somewhere being on my tablet that is in another room. And as aforementioned, this is the 4th time that I'm recording. I'm not gonna go get it. I'm not. Oh, okay. Let's talk about one of my favorite subjects. Languages. I love languages. It's pattern recognition, actually. And I don't know. I was a hyperlexic child. So I did start reading early and often. My vocabulary has always been vast. My grammar in any language is terrible, actually. I don't know if you guys do it in other languages. It's not really been a focus in any other language that I've learned. But apparently there's this thing called diagramming sentences that you do in English that I never learned how to do because of moving around. So, it wasn't part of the curriculum until after I'd left one place, and then it was in the curriculum before I got to the next place. So there's a lot that I don't... I can't tell you why. I can tell you when things sound right. But, I guess that's why when people say, well, you just have to memorize it. When you're learning a foreign language, there's certain things that you just have to memorize. In gendered languages, you often just have to memorize whether something is male or neuter. Right? There's often not... an easily distinguishable reason why it would be one or the other in gendered languages. Whereas female generally tends to be the easier one because it's the addition as opposed to the default. Because humanity sucks. So, that doesn't bother me. It would be well, just memorize it. I'm the amount of things that you memorize in your native language, and then you get surprised when somebody tells you that your target language also requires just some memorization. There's just not a rule. And people get all surprised Pikachu face. But I do get asked a lot, how? How do I have space for all the languages? How do I keep learning new languages at my big age? How do I maintain any skills in any of my languages. You guys aren't going to believe this. Pop culture and drama all the way down. What? Yeah, so one of the ways that now I do this intentionally, but it's something that I learned when I was learning Arabic at the Defense Language Institute, which is to engage with media in your target language. So read books, listen to music, watch movies, watch the news, read newspapers, read random blogs, listen to the radio. When you're watching TV, you want to watch a variety of TV shows with settings and characters and a variety of people with different accents. That helps you learn how to be natural. You don't have to understand anything they're saying, okay? That's not the point of listening to stuff. Now, I do, for my own anxiety, I look up music and do a quick translate, make sure that the gist of whatever song it is, if I think it's catchy, I want to make sure I know what I'm listening to. Especially when it's not in English. But listening to music and watching TV and films are going to help you understand the culture of your target language. You'll understand how slang works better. You'll understand how phrasing works, especially if you listen to like rap in your target language, or to, I guess you could call it like indie music in your target language. So like something that's not like a traditional 4/4 easy pop melody. You will learn a lot. The same way that I would encourage people to listen to those genres if they were learning English. Those are the things I would suggest. I would also suggest that you watch the local news. And I would suggest that you watch at least one sitcom, one dramatic television series, and try to find some sort of documentary in your target language. And that's for just the auditory stuff. To practice speaking, right now I don't have a lot of like verbal stuff happening, but there are people that I do not text in English. We both speak English as our first language. We do not text in English. Not unless it's like, want to make sure that we are actually on the same page, usually for like planning purposes. But like if you don't use it, you will lose it. I spent sometimes 60 hours a week just learning Arabic in the Army. Like, just in the classroom, you know? And I cannot produce Arabic the way that I could even the first 5 years after getting out of DLI. It's basically all I cannot construct the language. I still have some receptive skills, but and the music stuff is a recent thing. Like, adding a bunch of foreign language music is a more recent thing, because Spotify. Like, the only reason that I had the access that I had to all of the cultural aspects that I did while learning Arabic was because the Army paid for all of that. Like, the Army gave me an iPod. I mean, like, I had to return it when I was, like, leaving the school. I had to return it. But, like, the entirety that I was, like, in a class, I had an iPod that had, like, all of my, like, hearing exercises, like, my listening stuff, but also there was, like, some music, there was little stuff that, like, I just wouldn't have been able to get otherwise in 2007. Like, y'all gotta remember that YouTube basically didn't exist. Not really. Like, we had YouTube, but we didn't have YouTube, you know? So there was just a lot that you couldn't experience. And now I've realized recently that, like, I can now. I can, and so I'm working on that. But, like, I follow creators whose first language isn't English. I follow creators whose first language is English, but they are a polyglot, like a true polyglot, who does content in other languages as well. This sounds so silly. I have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, basically memorized. And so I have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in Hebrew and Czech. And I think there's one other language that I have it on Audible. And I figure, you know, like, once I can understand the entirety, then I could call myself fluent in that language. If you know, you know. So, I don't know, I immerse myself in media and culture. I like to be wrong. Okay, I don't know a lot. I'm just okay with being wrong. Because I'm usually wrong. Okay? I'm usually wrong. But I just keep the exposure up to the languages. Like, I do not currently have any friends who sign. I have acquaintances. I have, like, a long distance old battle buddy, but, like, I don't have any, like, local friends right now in the deaf community. I do sign to myself. I do speak to myself in other languages. I speak to the cats in a bunch of languages. When I'm getting ready, like doing stuff in the morning, I will say a phrase and then say it in as many languages as I can think of, and then anyone that makes me go, wait. Then like if I'm saying, do you want to eat? If I get to like Spanish and I can't remember how to conjugate the verb want, then I will finish getting the cats their food, and while they're eating, I will look up the answer to my question. I label stuff. I have a bread box that I labeled with the word bread in like 6 different languages with chalkboard markers. I don't make studying work, because this is one of those times when it might not have to be. For me, it doesn't have to be. Because I'm an auditory person, just listening to music in my target language while I'm doing my job otherwise, like cleaning or if I'm driving somewhere, then it's more about consistently doing that. And so if the passive information, because that's how you learn a language to begin with, by the way. That's why that is why there is such a clamor within linguistic minorities, such as people whose native language is a manual language, people whose native language is an indigenous language of some sort. Like there's a reason that you will hear people be so adamant about making sure that those children have access. And it's because so much of what we learn linguistically is passive. I was at a friend's house. He's deaf. The group was a mixed group, and I was still baby signer. Okay, I think I was in ASL 3 and ASL 4 at the time. That's a whole different story how I managed to get them to let me take both of those at the same time. But we were hanging out and Beauty and the Beast was on. And mind you, we're all like, in our early 20s. Like 23, 24, 25, that area, right? And so the movie's on, and because it's a mixed crowd, thankfully, the captions are on. And then somebody was reading the captions and was like, what does that even mean? Like, that's not even a word. And we're like, what? And they said, expectorating. That's not a word. Beauty and the Beast is why I know what the word expectorating means. And it's because you, as somebody who has always had all of my senses, I got to hear, I'm especially good at expectorating, and then Gaston spits. Because expectorating is to spit. And without any other context for that word, and without being able to read fast enough as they were growing up, that context just skipped over them. Now, mind you, there was a hearing person who also didn't make the connection and also did not have the same exposure to Beauty and the Beast that I did. Which is why it's a really good example of how passive learning works. And how passive linguistic learning works. I take advantage of that because that's something that never actually stops. Like, have you ever just known something? You're like, oh man, I don't remember where I heard it, but it's because you're just always taking in information. Your brain is collecting stuff faster than it can process it. Across the board. So, like, will you ever actively count how many, like, splotches of paint are behind me? I mean, now that I've mentioned it, probably. But your brain will, like, take in all that information regardless. You looked at it, it is now there. How long it takes for you to process that depends on your brain. But barring exigent circumstances, you would then later be able to say most of the different colors that are on this, even though it's not the focus. Just because I've been using it as a backdrop multiple weeks in a row now, you've had exposure to it. You wouldn't even consciously be processing that information. That's how it works. And I mean, that's for just, I mean, that's also like how we learn social norms, depending on like your culture and how you're raised, etc., etc. That's how we learn interpersonal communication skills, is by being surrounded by people interacting. When you're a toddler, you are not, in fact, actively paying attention to someone at the register while your parents are paying, right? But as you go to the store more often, eventually you learn that it's time for me to chill for a second so my mom can do this thing with this other human. And then more time passes and you start to go, oh, this is why I have to be quiet, because there is this thing that takes attention. What's that thing? It's money. Why is money important? Like, you just build and build and build through exposure to the same circumstances, or as close to as possible. That's how passive learning works. And that is just with everything in life. There is some degree of passive learning. No, you cannot go to sleep with your biology book under your head and learn through osmosis. That is not how it works. Thank you, freshman me. Yeah, most of it is that. Most of it is like intentionally adding passive learning to my life. Also, enlisting my friends. Sometimes against their will. Just because I know they know something in a foreign language, I'll, like, ask them about it. They never have to answer, but I will ask. I am the one who will ask the uncomfortable question, because I just need to know something completely unrelated. I do practice writing as well. That one's just a little bit harder to do passively. But yeah, I don't make learning a language its own thing. It's just part of my life. Being multilingual is something that I am confident in. It is something that I'm actually proud of. And I know that there are benefits beyond just having multiple languages behind it. So I find a way to just make it my life. I wish that that could be done with other things. I haven't found a way to do that with math yet. Yeah. So like that's how I maintain it. I also I had almost a 400-day streak on Duolingo out of spite. So that is a contributing factor to adding Czech to my lexicon. My initial interest is a whole nother story, but my current skill level is because I accidentally paid the ADHD tax of a yearly subscription. And when I realized it, I was like, oh, we getting our $85 worth out of Duolingo. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I stopped when I had my my crash out earlier this month. I lost my streak. It's fine. Because I was going to stop using Duolingo anyway because they moved to an AI first model. I've heard some things about Babbel. I might try that. Part of the reason that I did like Duolingo was because of how many languages you could add. I could literally add every single course if I wanted to. I hadn't hit the limit yet. I did take off. I took the math and the music back off because they started, I would go, days in a row where having to do math was, one of the quests. And I was like, no. That's too much. I want to be able to choose which language I'm doing that day. Because just some days I need an easy win and I just want to open up my German course and breeze through an entire unit in 20 minutes, practically. Sometimes that's just the vibe. And then sometimes I want to challenge myself with Yiddish. But the last time that I went on there, I think I have... Hang on, I'm going to do math. There's at least 9 courses that I cycle through. Just languages on Duolingo. Yeah, so I'm not actually made of magic when it comes to languages. I am made of intention. It is really hard to learn anything if you make it a chore. Then it doesn't matter how old you are. If sitting down to learn something is hard for you, it's probably always gonna be hard for you. So work around it. The less things that are distracting you, then the easier it's going to be for you to absorb new information. It's not necessarily about how you're getting it, it's about what you're doing while you're getting it. And studies have shown that multimodal learning is almost ubiquitously the way to go. Doing, seeing, hearing, touching, those are all ways to learn. Like when I practice writing, I will practice writing stories, I'll practice writing poems. Writing poetry in a foreign language is a really good way to play with the rules of grammar, whether or not you understand how to explain them. I cannot explain grammar in any language. But as I learn what sounds right and what native speakers say versus what the prescriptivism is, then I can come up with some interesting stuff. I think that's all the stuff I do. I think you should give it a try, probably, if you're trying to learn or improve a new linguistic skill. Probably the easiest way to do it is the next time you're watching something, see what the I'm so sorry if you guys can hear that. My neighbors like to just turn their car on and then I don't think that's actually my next door neighbors. There's a very large truck that's down the street. So that actually does wake me up in the middle of the night when it gets started and then gets pulled out of the driveway and goes around the corner. So I just don't usually hear it from like right here. I'm very used to hearing it when I'm in my bedroom. Anyway, like the next time you're watching something on Netflix, just turn on captions in a different language. See if it's dubbed in a different language. See how that experience is. For me, if I have the bandwidth to sit still, I like to watch it dubbed in a target language and then captioned in English, if the English captions are correct. Also, if you come across English captions, especially of any show that was aired on television, it doesn't matter if it was cable or public access, doesn't matter. If it was aired on television and the captions are incorrect, you can report it. And hopefully future editing Ezra will remember to put a link on how to do that so that we can help maintain proper access for people. And not just deaf people. Deaf people or other folks with hearing loss are not the only ones who need captions and deserve them. Because that's what the law says too. The law is that those captions are supposed to be correct, not paraphrased. So, if you'd like to join the fight in that particular good trouble arena, hopefully future me has your back. I'm also also going to say if you do really well with like the repetitive writing stuff and you want to make language learning a more regular part of your daily activities, either go digital or like either think digital about that concept or think low waste about it. So like you do not have to go get a notebook and a pen, right? If you don't have those things around, or if the idea of writing out 80 pages and then doing what with them kind of sends you into a tailspin, you can go get a dry erase board and still practice. I use my tablet when I want to practice stuff. I just write, and I'll write it like a whole bunch of times, and then I can just hit clear page. And I like the tablet because it is much closer to using a regular pen or pencil. And I don't like the thickness of dry erase markers. Yeah, that's it. That's how you learn a language, I guess. Like, for free? Mostly free. Because, like, you don't have to pay for a Spotify subscription to get access to international music. You don't have to pay for YouTube Premium to get access to foreign language content creators. You don't have to have a subscription to Duolingo to use it. You won't have unlimited access, but you'll have access. In the realm of going digital, also, I install keyboards left and right. And then I just go through and decide which ones are active. Currently, English, Czech, German, Spanish. Because I text a lot in Spanish. I am working on some German and Czech projects. So, yeah. Now I need to finish up because it is 3 p.m. and I have somewhere to be in 2 hours. I got a pool party to go to. Who am I? Who am I? My OG nibblings had their thing and it got rained out, and so now I'm like, I definitely have to go to this pool party so that I can just see all my babies. So many of my nibblings will be there. And if you're new to life, nibbling is just a gender-neutral term for nieces and nephews. It's like sibling, right? Instead of brother or sister. Yeah. So, and I have a lot of adopted nibblings because I'm a single person who's almost 40. A lot of my friends have kids. And in my opinion, if your decision is to become a unit when you have children, guess what? The whole unit's invited to my functions. If I'm inviting you, unless I say, hey, this is an adult event, I got stuff for your kids to do. And if I've invited you with the assumption that your kids are coming, I've made sure that whatever I am planning has appropriate stuff for whatever age your kids are. Even if they're not the only ones that are going to be here and the age range is like 10 years or something, I'm going to figure it out. So, like, I'll do a lot for these kids, including be outside at a pool for the first time, literally, since, like, the first time that I have, like, had a swimsuit on and been at a pool in over 15 years. I have been at a pool since then, but I haven't had a swimsuit in ages. So, since I bought them, I'm going to use them. And I need to maybe edit this? At least start to. Probably not. I'm probably going to be like, that's a future Ezra problem. Because it's not a very long pool party. I think I'll have time to edit when I get home. So, if there's anything that you would like for me to randomly tangent about, let me know. I hope I remember to leave links to everything I said I would leave links for. I will not be leaving links to companies. Like, first of all, this is posted to YouTube and to Spotify. I'm not going to put a YouTube link on Spotify or a Spotify link onto YouTube to tell you this is where you can go to find content, because, like, I don't know what target language you're looking for. I don't know what vibe of content you're looking for. I don't know what kind of music you like. I'm just telling you those are the platforms that I use the most to achieve my goals. Like I said, currently I have a Duolingo account. I'm trying to pivot. I'm trying to figure out where to pivot to. I haven't decided yet. If you've got suggestions, please let me know. Please help me. I really, really I love learning. And I love free learning. Mostly. But also, like, I love cultural exchange. Like, all of it. Anyway, I have no idea what I will be speaking about next week. With any luck, it will be about friendship in a really, really positive way. I am not holding my breath. Don't forget to be kind to yourself, even if you're not nice. And stay in good trouble. Bye.